morning, Columbus. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's daily dose of digital Torah inspiration here at Sinai Studios, Judaism Today. Have you ever come across a part of the Torah, a passage, a verse, a pasuk that rubbed you wrong? Perhaps there's a part of the Torah that you have trouble reconciling with the way you think. Perhaps there's a halacha or a mitzvah that doesn't inspire you, doesn't talk to you, or worse, you think you don't agree with. Have you ever struggled with the Torah, with a law, with a custom, with a practice? Don't worry, you're in good company if you have. I believe that every person that's serious about their Judaism will definitely find something in the Torah that they have to struggle with, that they have to come to terms with. After all, we're not the writers of the Torah. God gives us the Torah and we accept the Torah, right? It's an external moral code which we are choosing to embrace into our lives. So of course, there are going to be things that require our work and our striving to understand them and plumb them and deep them again, touch them and help make them resonate. There's a very important and very famous and monumental phrase in this week's Parsha. In this week's Parsha, one of the most monumental and important moments in all of Jewish history unfolds, which should inform our approach to these issues which we struggle with. God comes to the Jewish people, he says, do you accept my Torah? And the Jews have two choices. The Jews can either say, well, what are you selling? What's in it? What are the laws? Or as they actually say, they say, Na'aseh v'nishma, we will do and we will listen, which reflects unconditional commitment. Our sages teach us, the Midrash teaches us that God went to other nations and they rejected the Torah. He said, well, what's in it? Oh, it has this law, I don't like it, this law, I don't like it. They cherry picked the laws. And they said, this is not something that's for us, it doesn't resonate. And the essence of being a Jew, a religious person, is the concept of acceptance, which means we recognize that God knows more than us, is greater than us, is in charge of the world. And if he's giving us, it has to have wisdom. So we accept it. And then the second half that's the Na'aseh half. The second half is the Nishma half. It's where we say, okay, now let's understand. You see, the order matters profoundly. Are we saying Nishma and Na'aseh or Na'aseh and Nishma? Are we saying, let us hear and then we will do? Or we'll do it no matter what you say, God, and then we'll try and hear, then we'll try and understand. The essence of religion is the recognition of the relationship between people and God. We recognize that God is infinitely greater and smarter and more powerful and more and just an infinite being which we're longing to connect to. And that's embodied, that recognition is embodied in the posture of saying Na'aseh v'nishma, that we accept you, what you're saying, God. But that doesn't mean, the Torah says, you have to check your intellect at the door. On the contrary. Then Nishma, then struggle to understand it. Dive into it, sink your teeth into it. Now, what's unique about the Na'aseh v'nishma formula, that we will do and we will listen formula, is it validates two things simultaneously. It validates the notion of God and the notion of humanity. It validates God's superiority, God's infinitude, that no matter what you say, God, we're in, we love you, we want to have a relationship with you. We realize that what you're right and we're just people. We're frail. At the same time, it recognizes that, but we need to understand. We need to grapple with it. We need to come to terms with it. This is the essence of religious sophistication. Religious sophistication means that we recognize our standing vis-a-vis God. We recognize the God-human relationship, but we also try and do our best to plumb the depths of that which God gives us, to grasp it, to understand it, with the recognition that, of course, as people, we're never going to fully grasp the infinitude of God's wisdom. But this is something that we're committed to. We're committed to doing it, and we're also committed to understanding it the best we can, to struggling with it if necessary, but taking it seriously with that respect. So Na'aseh v'nishma truly embodies the moment where we become Jews. Let us choose that path in our lives. Let us choose the path of the humility to recognize that as people, God is superior. But at the same time, the commitment to say, We're going to do the best we can with this, try and understand it, struggle if we may, but embrace it fully and totally. I hope you enjoyed that episode of Judaism Today. If you did, please make sure to follow us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, or check into our podcast wherever podcasts are listened to, and we look forward to hearing from you more.